Alright, so coming off the back of a relatively slow week, I thought we'd skip back to the week before and go through all of the trades that I took, missed, or decided to skip. Because yes, I did miss a trade. It happens, I'm human too. But hopping onto the charts, let's look at this 1 to 3 that me and the VIPs took on the Monday, which is a fantastic way to start the week, and it's probably the most textbook trade throughout the week. Now, from the start of the day, we can see that we are just clearly bullish. We are only really breaking highs. And if we look over to the left, I don't do top-down analysis because if we were to look at top-down, then we'd say, we're going bearish. We're breaking all of the structure to the downside. I think people who would do top-down analysis may be scared to take buys here. But on the 5-minute time frame, we're up in the noise of the higher time frame, so we don't really need to, worry about this. So we've determined that we're in a bullish market structure right now, but looking back over to the left, we can see that there are also gaps to the upside. From the market close on the Friday to the market open on the Monday, you will usually find these physical gaps in the market, and we can't always be sure that they want to be filled every single time. But if we're in a bullish market structure and we've already started to fill in all of these gaps, then there's a high chance that we just continue filling those in. So that is already a great confluence, and it's probably the main takeaway from this trade specifically, because after that, it really is just so textbook. Our zone is backed up by consolidation and is a great size in proportion to the entire setup. We shoot out with so much momentum too, so we can be sure that there are, institutional buyers down here. Then we make that retracement for our liquidity to sit under, just a very visual swing. We also do make another visual swing just here, but we don't take out this prior liquidity level, so that is only going to be adding more liquidity. And then we break to the upside, which will give us our break of structure, so we can be confident that we'll continue going upwards. Now, it was only by wicks. It would be nicer if there were candle closes, obviously. But after that, we shoot to the downside with so much momentum, leaving behind some small gaps, as you can see just here, which we can be sure that the market wants to go back up and retrace, which is just a little confluence to look out for. That's why I always say it's really nice to see the market shoot back down to our zone in a relatively straight line. And after that, we get really convincing wick rejections. We're not just tapping the side of the zone or the edge and then going to the upside. We are getting deep wicks inside, showing great rejections both times. It can be a great zone, but if it's not showing good rejections, then there's a high likelihood that I just don't take. After that, I wait for the new higher time frame candle just to make sure we don't get any lower wicks deeper into our zone. I don't expect any lower wicks on a higher time frame candle to go deeper than here. I've already shot off a significant amount, but it's just being safe. So I waited for that lower wick, got in on that higher time frame flip, and it looked like we were just going to shoot to take profit, but after a little bit of, a retest, it then does go and hit that 1 to 3. And yeah, that was on the Monday, which gave me a lot of confidence going into the rest of the week. So let's go on to Tuesday, which was also on NQ. And the key takeaway from this one is going to be re-entries. There's a specific time that I take re-entries, which I'll go over, because this was actually a re-entry scenario. But quickly looking at the entire setup, we are in a bullish market structure from the start of the day. As you can see, we are only breaking highs realistically, making these higher lows and then higher highs, breaking highs over to the left. But we are sitting on some pretty hefty gaps over to the left just down here. With futures, especially gold and NQ and ES, they typically run more than, let's say, Forex pairs would. So I really don't mind buying in a market where we are sitting on gaps because there's a high chance that we do just continue running. And this is actually a great example of why we continue to the upside and made higher highs instead of breaking lows and just continuing to the downside. And is a big reason why I trade futures. It's just so easy to see what the market wants to do. Anyways, after that, we made multiple levels of liquidity. Obviously, we're just looking at this first swing just here, but it is great to see another swing just like this one just here. And we break highs both times, giving that break of structure to the upside, which also breaks highs over to the left, like this high here and this high here. So we really do just have great directional bias. After this, we came down to our zone with decent market structure. It would be much nicer to see us shoot down just like that, but I'm not complaining too much. I still have seen these win time and time again, so I was completely fine with taking my entry. And because we were at 12.10, that was just going to be a directional entry. So just like we always do, I got my entry, placed my stops on the deepest wick into our zone, and then place my TPs at a 1 to 3. But as you can see, a few candles later, we just wanted to come back into our zone with a deeper retest. And this was completely fine for me to take a re-entry on. Now, as you can see down at the bottom, this was at 12.30, which is going to be a new higher time frame candle, meaning that it's completely fine for a flip entry. And the main thing that differentiates a setup that I would take a re-entry on and wouldn't take a re-entry on is whether the initial rejections create a lower high. That's like a pretty significant lower high. So if we were to shoot up and then come down from here, then we are creating a pretty significant lower high, which just isn't great to see. you know, if we've already gotten these rejections, then we should just shoot off. So I don't want to create any contradictory market structure. Like I wouldn't re-enter off of that. Something else to look out for, and a scenario where you probably shouldn't take a re-entry, is if we are, you know, rejecting off of a supply. If we were already in a trade, but instead of just shooting to the upside, we were rejecting off of this supply just here, then that obviously just isn't great to see. But if we actually look at the candles, it's all more or less part of the same retest. This entire thing just here just looks like an accumulation of orders. It doesn't look like bearish market structure. So on this new higher time frame candle, I got my flip entry with my stop loss under the deepest wick into our zone. And then because it was a re-entry, I wanted to play it a bit safer. So I actually took my TPs at a 1 to 2.5 just at this closer liquidity just here. And that's just me being transparent. I realistically should have held to a 1 to 3 RR. So I really have no other reason to tell you guys that other than just, you know, keeping it real. But if I was to take out that 1 to 3 risk to reward, then it would have hit anyway for a plus 2% scenario. I took out a plus 1.5% scenario after losing 1 RR on the original entry. So yeah, that was Tuesday, and that's more or less how I'm always going to handle these potential re-entry scenarios. Now for Wednesday, it's going to be a huge shout out to the VIPs because they took a trade that I didn't actually take. And this was over on ES. There were 2 trades on this day, one that I skipped and one that I missed, like the intro promised. So let's go into breaking down exactly what I saw and why I decided to do the things that I did. Quick mention, if you did want to trade with the VIPs, we are active every single day over in the link down below. The VIPs are constantly sending trades that they're looking to take. I'm constantly saying, you know, if I'm looking to take it, if I'm not, as well as sending every single trade that I do take. So if you do just want some more insight into the markets, then once again, that's just down below. And you will also find a free community down there, just in case you're not ready to take that next step yet, because we are all at different places in our journey. So I hope to see you down there. Also, whilst you're down there, don't forget to leave a like. I never ask, I always forget to, but it does show me that you're learning from these videos, which is very helpful. Anyways, let's stop waffling and look at this trade that the VIPs took. So this was very early into our session. This was literally half an hour into our session where it gave our entry. And if you wanted to tick off all of our confluences, then it really does have everything. It has market structure. Over to the left down here, as you can see, we are rejecting off of a key level and just rejecting very bullish from it. And before that, the same thing happened. So in a higher time frame, we can be sure that we are going bullish. You know, we're consistently breaking highs as well. But looking at the setup itself, it is just very, very risky. And the reason I say this is liquidity is not strong for the overall size of the setup. If we were going to take a trade in this, you know, overall proportion, I'd much rather see a setup with an entire swing of liquidity rather than just this really, really insignificant swing. And when I say visually, you can see how much stronger this swing would be. There is 100% going to be institutions and retail traders stop losses below this swing. Whereas over here, it's just a lot less likely. That being said, the trade still did win with a convincing lower wick into our zone, wicked very deeply. Directional close, since it's nowhere near a new higher time frame candle. Then it shoots up to our maximum 1 to 3 RR that we have over on ES. And then more or less just shoots to the downside. And this is what I mean when I say that these TPs really are tested. I say it almost every video. You're going to find scenarios like this so much. Anyways, after we hit that trade's 1 to 3 TP, we then break to the downside, breaking multiple significant lows over to the left, which is just going to be a great read that the market may have a change of bias. And if we look to the upside, there are already a couple of supply scenarios that would be valid. We have this trade just here with a great level of liquidity sitting above here, another potential supply just up here. But if we keep going forward, we see great rejections right here. And if I mark it out a bit cleaner, it didn't actually invalidate. It kind of matched the tick on the edge. I'm personally more in favor for this bottom zone just because it's continuation and it is also massively in favor of the 200 EMA. Now I can't say for certain if this did give flip entry. Let's just go off directional entry. And I can't say because this is actually the trade that I missed. And the reason I missed it boils down to I'm human. We all make mistakes. We all do miss trades. Like it's inevitable to happen. So don't, you know, stomp yourself in the foot when you do. But if we actually look at the technicals as to why, I was very in favor of buys in this market. At this scenario just down here, I expected the market just continue to the downside. As we established, it was kind of higher time frame, you know, looking bullish. But after breaking these lows over to the left very quickly, coming up to our zone in a very straight line, meaning that it is also very quick. Within more or less than an hour and a half, I did unfortunately miss my entry. And with our TPs, which would have been at a 1 to 3 RR, this would have been a great way to continue the week with our third green day with a potential 6%. But for me, would have likely only have been at 3% because, I mean, I skipped that first trade. So always be diligent. Always make sure to look out for any potential changes of bias because that really can happen more or less over the course of an hour or two. Anyways, after those 2 trades over on the Wednesday, we find ourselves over on the Friday. And we did, unfortunately, end the week on a -1 RR. Now, I'm going to do a breakdown like we do with every other trade. Just because it lost doesn't mean that it was a bad scenario. In fact, it was likely my favorite trade of the week, just in terms of how strong the liquidity was, how clear all of the price action was, as well as these fake outs on that potential supply just below us, which is also going to be adding to our liquidity. It was just very clean. But anyways, let's look at this as a trader should and look at all of the facts rather than what I think should have happened. We are continuously breaking lower lows and making lower highs, so I don't really need to do anything more on market structure. We're bearish. After that, we get this strong push to the downside out of seemingly nowhere, which forms this zone at the top of a swing, which is great for a zone. But even if this candle was to have closed red, then it still would have been a valid zone to trade off. Since if we marked it up from the candle just before it, it still got valid rejections. It still didn't close inside of our zone, which isn't something that I look at all the time. I mean, it's pretty rare for a zone to be a doji candle, but I just thought it was a nice little outlook on how valid this area of supply was. And yeah, like I said, we get that really, really strong push to the downside. Very convincing, strong visual level of liquidity. This is much more convincing than that trade that we saw on Wednesday. Afterwards, we break so many lows over to the left, which is just going to be really, really confirming that bearish market structure. You know, we break all of these lows and then additionally just continue bearish. Afterwards, we also continue back up to our zone in a straight line, which is leaving behind so many imbalances, so many fair value gaps that the market does want to retrace and go back down and fill. Unfortunately for us, we don't know when it wants to fill these gaps, but it is just another confluence in our favor. After that, like I said, we get fake outs from a potential supply below us, which retail traders would be getting into, you know, placing their positions down here with their stop losses either above this wick, you know, the deepest wick inside of their zone, or above the zone entirely over at these swings over to the left, which is once again just adding to our liquidity. And then as you can see, we come back into our zone, get our directional entry, 11.05, nowhere near a new higher time frame candle, with our TPs at a 1 to 3 RR. And then as you saw, a few candles later, we do go deeper to the upside, therefore invalidating our zone, not giving a valid re-entry. And it's good to see that it wasn't just a fake out, it was just a continuation to the upside, which you really cannot predict in these kind of markets. So after that, we wrapped up the week green with a plus 3.5%, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But compared to strategies on, you know, like 1-to-1 RRs, we took 4 trades with a 50% win rate and still came out the other side with a huge buffer. So, like I was saying, if you want to trade with me and the VIPs, there's a link to that just down below. But if not, join the free Discord or just subscribe and like so I can just catch you in the next one. Until then, peace.